Okay, um, hi guys, this is Ishita. I just wanted to go over the preparation for this Wednesday. So, just briefly about the project, what we are trying to do is we are trying to study the behavior of people as affected by their surroundings. So, the particular behavior that we are trying to study is altruism or being helpful. So, the lost letter experiment is supposed to be such that um, if a person is feeling helpful, altruistic, and he sees a letter lying around and he sees the post box nearby, then he will pick it up and post it for you, thinking that somebody has dropped it, I will recover it and do a helpful act. So, um, this person's behavior may be affected by um, if the weather is bad, if there is a lot of pollution, air pollution, noise pollution, then even if he sees the letter lying around, he won't behave in a altruistic manner. That's the hypothesis, right? So what we are going to do on Wednesday is we are going to do a dry run at 11 locations, and in each location we will have 3 post boxes. So to prepare for this Wednesday, number 1, get around 12 letters, okay, and put your own address just for this Wednesday. Put your own address, let's say Ishita Chatterjee, 48 Godavari Hostel, JNU 110067, something like that, and put a 5 rupees stamp on it. Okay, so you need to buy around 12 envelopes and around 12 rupees 5 stamp, and you need to paste the stamp on the top of the letter, and you need to write your address. Now take any piece of paper, blank is fine, used paper which you are not going to use anymore, fine. Fold it, insert it in the letter, seal the letter. So it should not look like it is just an empty envelope. There is something in there. Okay. Now on the back of the uh, envelope where we typically put down our return address, you need to write a code that says this is the date, this is the main area where we dropped the letter. So let's say this is ITO. So this is ITO. In ITO, this is letter box number 1, and this is letter number 1. So I think it will be best if you suppose the team that is going to ITO, they fill up everything, the date, ITO, and keep the number for the letter box and the number for the letter blank, and they can just fill up those number before they drop it, or you can just prepare a bunch before you go. Now the other things you need to prepare are number 1, a weather app where it shows you the wind and the current level of temperature and whether it's currently raining. Now I can look up New Delhi weather on the website, but that doesn't tell me whether there is rain in ITO or whether there is rain in Dwarka, and whether the temperature in ITO is at 1 degree higher or lower than the temperature in Dwarka. So hit current location. So we try to find out the temperature at the current location. Now for noise, we are going to use mostly decibel meter for iPhone and Android phone, and for Windows phone we are going to use sound meter SPL. Okay, and we need to find out the average and the maximum sound during the time that you dropped the letter and the letter was there on the road. And the last app that you need is a counter app, where a multi-counter, set it up as male and female, so there should be a count going on for how many males are passing the letter, and there should be one that should count how many females are passing that letter. And also you should take out a print of the worksheet where you will be recording all this data, and take a pen with you. Now for the experiment, go to I will send you the actual locations of these 3 post boxes in, say, ITO. I'm using ITO as an example. So when you reach that post box, try to look around for a point where you can hide slightly, so that people who are passing by do not see you staring at them and recording data. Okay. Also, when you drop the letter, drop it very quietly so that people do not observe that you actually dropped the letter. Try to drop the letter within 3 to 5 meters of the post box. Okay, so 1 meter is 3 feet, so we're like 15 feet maximum distance from the letterbox, either way, either side. Drop the letter in such a way that people passing by can see the letter, as well as they can see that there is a letterbox nearby. We do not want to create a situation where after a person picks up a letter, he has to look around and search for a place to put it in. It should be very obvious. We are not disturbing the person's routine too much. There's a letter lying around, there's a letterbox just close by, just 2 more steps, and if you are feeling good, you're going to drop it. If you don't want to help people, you don't pick up the letter, or you don't even notice it. Okay, so find out the hiding place for these 2 people. Right, now about the apps, I know for a fact that you need to keep the decibel meter running all the time. If you are using Android or iPhone, you need to keep the decibel meter running all the time. That's why we suggest that the 2 people that are going there, the person who is going to drop the letter, before you drop the letter, just look at your watch. You know the time you dropped the letter, so you will have to note down the time, and you should start the app for the noise. You should start the decibel app and keep it on all the time. Okay, now after the experiment is over, in the sense that that particular letter has been decided, it has either been picked up or it has been not picked up or it got blown away, when that is done, you stop the app of decibel and you look at the weather condition, you look at the time at which you stopped the experiment, and you record all those in. Okay, the other person who is not dropping the letter, as soon as he or she sees their friend has dropped the letter, they start counting the people passing by. So this guy should have the counting app open. Okay, now this guy is the one who is going to write down what time the friend dropped the letter, because he could see the time at which the letter was dropped, and he can also see the time the letter was picked up. Okay, so I think this guy is going to do, the person who is not dropping the letter, it is easier for him to count the passerby, to record the time of the letter picking up, dropping off, and he may be also the person who will be recording the weather details. Just see what is working better. Okay, the person who drops the letter definitely is the person who is going to be recording the noise. Okay, because he is possibly going to hide relatively close to the place where the letter was dropped. The person who is counting is probably located a little farther, so that he can see the letter box and he can see the people passing by. Okay, okay, what else? Yes, I have, just to reiterate, I have found that the decibel app needs to stay on all the time. Now, what happens if the experiment fails? So, what can happen if this experiment is failing? It could be that you dropped the letter and somebody, and the letter box is next to a post office, and a postal person, either a peon or a postal official, comes and picks it up. In that case, that letter is dead, it is terminated. You suppose that was letter number 2. You write letter number 2, I dropped it at 9:30 and it was picked up at 9:32 by an official. And then you do letter number 2 all over again using a new letter, right? If it gets blown away by wind, if it gets swept away by the sweeper, essentially if it is taken away by a non-passerby, then you terminate that particular letter. Okay, we are going to drop 3 valid letters at the most. If it is the case that you dropped a letter and it was picked up within 1 minute, then you dropped another letter, it was picked up in 5 minutes, you dropped the third letter and it was picked up in 30 seconds, okay, then your experiment is done. If nobody picks up the letter, you stick around for 20 minutes at the most. If 20 minutes you just dropped the one letter and nobody picked it up, then that is your data. One letter was dropped, nobody picked it up for all 20 minutes. But you counted the number of people who passed it by. Okay. What other things? Oh, if it rains during the day, then we just cancel experiment for that day, because rain is going to just wash away things and people are going to be extremely hurrying. So we don't want to run the experiment if it is raining. What else? Right. The other thing is that you need to have the central coordinator is going to record the pollution. Now, in order for the central coordinator to record the pollution, you need to keep your WhatsApp open just for the first drop, and you need to write in the WhatsApp. So suppose you are ITO, then open your ITO mailbox and just type in start and send it. Okay, and when the experiment is over, type in stop and send it for every letter. Okay, so letter 1 start stop, letter 2 start stop, letter 3 start stop. Okay, now as soon as your central coordinator gets this message from ITO, what he or she will do is she's going to go into this page where the air pollutions are recorded. So it is located in this link, and it is going to take you to this map. Okay, now suppose I'm talking about ITO. As soon as he or she realizes that an ITO letter has been dropped, they click on this link, and that link will show her what is the pollution level of all the particulate matter in ITO, and she can take a screenshot or just record the data. Okay, and then when somebody says it's stopped, then she again will come back to ITO and record the data there. Okay, I think this refreshes every 15 minutes. No, I think if I hit current data, it will probably give me, yeah, I think it refreshes every 5 minutes. So you can basically check what is happening there. Okay, right, and the central person will also go to this website, which is also there in a document which I will send to her. We'll go to ITO Delhi, because we are looking at ITO, and take a screenshot of that. Okay, so it's the pollution here is a bit unhealthy, and it's sensitive group people should not go there. Okay, so this is essentially what we are trying to record: the central person as soon as you send her start stop for every letter, she or he is going to take the data from here and the data from there. Okay, and the people who are dropping the letter, you need to use your worksheet, and in your worksheet you just need to write down all these details, the code of the letter. Before you leave your house, you can probably leave this one and this one blank and fill them in later. And the dropping time, termination time for each letter. And then you are recording the number of persons male, number of persons female, whether the letter was picked up, it may not be picked up. If it was picked up, whether it was removed by a person, what kind of person picked it up, male or female. Sometimes you will be able to see that the person actually dropped it in the letter box, then it's yes. Sometimes the person may just take the letter and walk away. Then you say that, no, I don't know what happened. And here you also record what was the decibel level, the average 54.5, and what was the maximum, and what was the weather that you found, whether it was temperature, whether there was any rain, and whether what was the speed of the wind at that time. Okay, I think that is about it for the letter dropping. The next step is a mood survey. Okay, so for the mood survey, so suppose in ITO you have 3 letter boxes and you have dropped the letter, but you are still in the ITO area. Okay, and for the mood survey, try to find one person within 50 meters radius of the dropping location. So for every letter box, find a person to do the mood survey. Okay, so what you can do is, what is 50 meters? 50 meters is roughly 3 houses down. Yeah, 50 meters is roughly 150 feet or 50 yards. So roughly 3 houses down. Within that area, try to find one person, at least one person. If you can find more, better. But that person should be present every day of the week, roughly. And you go and ask him about his mood. Now, before you approach this person, because you are approaching a particular person and asking him questions, you may actually have to tell him a little bit about the experiment. So just approach him and say, sir, bhaiya, whatever, because the person may not understand English. So you may have to kind of translate the content of this information and tell it to him in Hindi. So essentially, you can say that this is a research चल रहा है, conducted by these people. Purpose is to understand how environmental surrounding affects the mood of a person. हम लोग आपका नाम नहीं पूछेंगे, कुछ नहीं पूछेंगे. No personal information will be collected. Just एक सवाल आपको पूछा जाएगा, आपका मूड कैसा है आज, है ना? And you can also say, we are going to ask you this question every morning for the next 5 mornings. Okay. What else need you say to this guy? Try to hit someone who is an adult, 18 years or above. So ignore all the chotus hanging around in the street. Okay. A mood survey is essentially, you just ask him, आपका mood कैसा है इस वक्त? How do you describe your mood at this moment? Are you very happy, fair, tic-tac, unhappy, very unhappy? Or what you do is, you just record the date you did this question, the location, ITO letterbox 1, ITO letterbox 2, ITO letterbox 3, and this is for your own records. Just remember which was person 1, which was person 2, which was person 3, and what was their response. So after you do the mood survey for letterbox 1, go to letterbox 2, do the experiment all over, and then do a mood survey for letterbox 2. That's all I can think of right now of saying. I have given you a worksheet. You can say this is prepared by X and Y, and आपका नाम लिखना है यहाँ. And I have also given you a worksheet for the mood survey, and I have also given you a timesheet. ये आपके पास रखना, and once the survey is done, send it to me. I will pay you. Okay. Now these you may need to print out the worksheet for the experiment and the worksheet for the mood survey. So if you incur any cost for printing, let me know. We are going to reimburse you. And that's about it. Any questions? Send me an email or ask via WhatsApp.